Hello and welcome to Tech 24 with me, Annelise Borges. Coming up, a transparent computer that allows you to reach inside and touch digital content. In today's show, we talk to researcher Jin-Ha Lee. And in this week's Test 24, Mark Edwards takes the new waterproof Sony Walkman for a swim. But before we get to those stories, let's take a look at the top 10 billionaire brands and people from the high-tech and telecom industries. The figure of the week is brought to you by Le Journal du Net.
In just a few years, new technologies have made their bosses among the richest men in the world. According to Forbes magazine, Mexican business magnate Carlos Slim is the richest man in the world in 2013, with a fortune estimated at $73 billion. He's ahead of the founders of Microsoft, Oracle, Amazon, Google, and Facebook. Xavier Niel, who founded French telecom operator Free, stands at the 24th position. He's the first French billionaire in the high-tech and telecom industry, with a fortune estimated at $6.6 billion.
A transparent computer that allows users to reach inside and touch digital content was recently unveiled at the TED conference in Los Angeles. Spacetop combines a transparent LED display and built-in cameras and is able to track the user's gestures and eye movements. The researcher for the machine and TED fellow Jin-Ha Lee joins me now from Seoul, South Korea. Jin-Ha Lee, thank you so much for joining us today. Was this your idea? How did the transparent computer project come to be?
I was inspired by this idea of reaching inside the digital world. And actually, there's been a great deal of research that looks at how we can reach into the digital world and physically interact with the information. But I was wondering, why we don't have this 3D interaction in our desktop space, like in our everyday computing environments. So I wanted to bring this idea of 3D interaction into everyday desktop computing environments. So one of the reasons why we don't have 3D in the desktop is that because, first of all, it's like moving in 3D all the time is kind of exhausting. It makes people get exhausted after a while. And then there's already beautiful connection between touchpad and mouse with the computer screen already. So when I was working at Microsoft Applied Sciences as an intern with my mentor Kelly Blanche, I thought it would be nice to merge these traditional computer interfaces and 3D interface together and make them into a one workflow. I mean, there's great advantage of interacting with digital in 3D space, like when you're arranging the physical book on your desk and shelf, you can easily pick up the books that you stopped reading a week ago because your body kind of remembers where the books were. So this is called spatial memory. But we have this great human skills to interact in the physical space, and I thought it would be really nice to merge these human skills into what we already have with the computer.
And how exactly does the computer work?
Right. So it works with a, first of all, transparent screen. So you can see through, you can see the digital content and also the space behind it. And and there's a depth camera that looks at your face. So depending on where you're looking at the screen from, it changes the perspective of graphics rendering. So when you move around, you actually get the idea of having digital information behind the screen in 3D, as if it's physically there. Then there's another depth camera that looks down from above. So that tracks your fingers. So you can actually kind of go in, and when you grab, the computer understands when you're pinching. So that's kind of interpreted as a gesture input. So these are all combined to one workspace. And the great thing about the design is that this 3D interface space is right above the keyboard. So you can actually just type or use a touchpad, but you can lift up your hands. So you can easily transition from this traditional computer experience and 3D experience. So it's a very seamless experience. Mm-hmm.
And where exactly do you see this technology being used in the near future?
Right. So again, the Spacetop computer is not just about 3D. It's about hybrid workspace that has 3D and traditional 2D interface. So I don't think 3D interface can replace everything that we do with the computer right now. checking emails and things like that. I mean, the 3D interface, it will actually make a lot of things that we do with the computers easier, like arranging the files and designing things and web browsing and documents editing. You can flip through the digital books and to search the relevant information while typing. So basically every application, but it will still, like, I think, it will not just be about what we're doing with the computer these days, but it will be about something that we don't do with the computers right now, like remote collaboration, like how we explain, like how to do choreography, like physical activities. So a bunch of different things that we never did with the computers will be possible if the digital information can actually stay in the 3D space, in a form that we can interact with the human skills. Yeah.
But do you see this in, for example, schools in, let's say, 10 years' time?
Mm-hmm. In 10 years' time is a pretty long time, but I would say some similar interactions will be something we can buy and use in school, yes.
All right, thank you very much, Jin-Ha Lee, for joining us today from Seoul, South Korea. And we're going to move on now, because it's time for Test 24. This week, we're testing the new Sony waterproof Walkman. Mark Edwards headed out to the local swimming pool to try out the music player for us. Take a look.
The Sony Walkman, the first portable music device, the original gadget, and 34 years later, its waterproof relation.
So I'm very excited about this week's Test 24, where we're trying out the new Sony Walkman 273. Now, I've been told it's fully waterproof, so that's the point of coming to the local swimming pool just around the corner from France 24. Only took me 3 minutes to charge. I get an hour's autonomy with it, hour's use. Let's go do some lengths I haven't swum for a long time.
If you're not in a rush, the Walkman's full 90-minute charge gives you 8 hours of continuous use. Plenty of time to do your lengths.
So we've got the Sony W273s, and very simple to use. We've got fast forward, go backwards, pause, on, and volume. Let's get them on. They're pretty simple to put on, and I won't be able to hear much from there. I've just got tunes. Let's go in the pool.
Waterproof music devices aren't new. Therefore, the W273 isn't revolutionary in any way. But with a 4 gig memory and an easy drag and drop system for the music, it's a well-designed device. Good for swimming or any type of workout. But how does it fare underwater?
So besides the fact I'm a little bit tired, yeah, I found the device was useful. It is very clear. The sound's very clear. It really blocks everything out. I enjoyed using the shuffle option, and you don't need to worry about different songs and that sort of thing. It's particularly useful, I think, for people who like to do plenty of lengths in the morning to get you going. At €80, it's a good device. I'll probably get this as a gift to my parents who like swimming. It's a good one.
That's a great job there, Mark. And that's all we have time for. We leave it today with images of a partnership between Ferrari and Apple, unveiled last week at the Geneva Motor Show. The Italian car manufacturer wants drivers to know that cabin tech is every bit as important as engine tech on its cars, and has announced further plans to work with Apple to develop its in-car entertainment systems. Hopefully, I'll be able to test a hypercar for you sometime soon. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.